Hey, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we are tracking storms across the western side of Kansas, Oklahoma, and the Panhandle of Oklahoma today. So let's go ahead and check out your weather headlines. Severe weather stomps the plains. Yeah, it sure does, especially with some of these supercells that we're expecting today. Some large hail expected out of that. That's going to be one of the main risks that we have this afternoon. Significant severe hail. I've seen it on social media be described as gorilla-sized hail for today. And then we also have a low tornado risk. It's not zero, so it's definitely something that we need to talk about with some of those isolated tornadoes in the Panhandle this afternoon and evening. So let's take a look at storms right now, and then we'll go into later on today, and then we'll even go ahead into the future to tomorrow and Wednesday. Taking a look at those storms happening across central Kansas right now, we've got some good cloud cover and rain ongoing right now, but that's really it. Other than that, we've got a pretty dry setup across the U.S., dry out to the northeast, dry in the southeast, except for a few isolated showers and storms in Florida, and then dry across Oklahoma and Texas. Our temperatures today are very similar to what we saw yesterday for the most part, 70s and 80s blanket the U.S. But we are expecting temperatures to warm up later on this week and into the middle of September. So if you were missing those summertime temperatures, fall came a little bit too early for you, I think you're going to like the end of this forecast as we get into some of those warmer temperatures. Alrighty, let's take a look at yesterday's storm reports. We did have some wind reports pretty isolated across the U.S. On Saturday. We had all of those wind reports across the eastern side, and then we went out to the west for Sunday, where we had a few hail reports, a few wind reports as well, but nothing overly exciting here. We even had one quarter-size hailstone out in the central portion of Kansas. Now, this line of showers and storms have kind of set over this entire area this morning, still bringing some rain to places like Topeka and Salina and portions of Wichita. But then we'll head down to the southwest into places like Guymon and the southern side of Kansas later on this afternoon and evening. That's where we're expecting our storms today. So let's zoom right down into that hail risk today. And tell me where you're watching from today, because we'll talk about a few different areas across the U.S. So we want to make sure that we're tailoring your forecast to where you guys are watching from right now. So I've got my messages open on the side of the screen over here. I can see those messages come in as you comment them. Let's zoom right down into that area for storms today. We're talking about Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. How large will your hail size be? We could absolutely get up to tennis ball size hail today. I think that is absolutely possible this afternoon and evening. Not for everyone, okay? These storms are going to be pretty isolated. So I think what's going to happen here is you're going to get rain and large hail, or you're going to stay dry and just see those clouds in the distance, okay? It's going to be one or the other today. It's not going to be like everyone gets rain and everyone gets hail. No, that's not what's happening. Let me show you actually how isolated these storms are. What we're going to do is we're going to pivot off to Oklahoma. Here, let's go through. Come on, let's get into Oklahoma here. Alrighty, let me fix this graphic real quick, and then we'll get into Oklahoma. Let's see. I don't want you guys to miss anything here. So let's fix this graphic. Let's do this one as well. Potentially. Come on, graphics. There you go. I believe in you. Alrighty. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go down into the Panhandle of Oklahoma, and then we're going to talk about the southern side of Kansas, and we're going to talk about north Panhandle of Texas as well. And what I want you to be really watching for here is you're going to watch, you can see all of the cluster of storms that's hanging out in central Kansas right now. That is not what it's going to look like later on today. No, what it's going to look like are just one storm, maybe another storm across Guymon, Ulysses, Dodge City may get an isolated storm or two. These supercells are going to be pretty impressive, but there's not going to be a lot of them. Alrighty, now let's see that zoom. Perfect. Okay, let me show you these storms today. You've got maybe one supercell coming into the northern side of Texas as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. You've got another one maybe into Guymon, and maybe another one into Inglewood. Okay, we're talking about 1, 2, maybe 3 significant storms today. We're not talking about a widespread event. That's not what's happening here. Some of the biggest risks that we're going to see for today are going to be that tornado risk, isolated for the most part, and then of course large hail as well. And you can see that area that we're expecting the most storms highlighted there in yellow. That slight risk, a level 2 risk there, and then a level 1 risk, a marginal risk, mainly for high wind speeds, but a little bit of hail possible here as well, from Hays all the way down to Amarillo, Texas, and then even into places like Lubbock. We've also got another risk for storms today. We have that highlighted there in green, a marginal risk for some smaller hail. We're talking about quarter to maybe ping pong ball size hail in this area. You can also take a look at your timeline. We're expecting a later storm system anywhere from about 5 to 10 o'clock in this area. Again, just to the north of Minneapolis. By the time that storms actually get to Minneapolis, they should be non-severe. Alrighty, let's go into some specific hazards here. Let's start with the hail map. All right, your eye immediately goes to that red, right? We told you that tennis ball size hail today is absolutely possible, so let's talk about it. Highlighted there in red, you could see up to golf ball to maybe tennis ball size hail, anywhere from Liberal, Kansas to Garden City, and then into Woodward, Oklahoma. So we're talking about northwestern Oklahoma here, southwestern Kansas. I think that one of the best areas, and I'm actually going to go back because I want to show you the risks right here, highlighted here in yellow. I put a level 2 risk, and I did that for Liberal, and I did that for Amarillo, okay? So Liberal, Kansas, I'm kind of pinpointing this southwestern side of Kansas to get at least 1 or 2 storms here. Now, once they get into Woodward, I think these storms could start to weaken. But I think that this area right here is a better chance to get more storms than the rest of the area. Now you go down into places like Amarillo, you could also see an isolated supercell or two, but this is going to have smaller hail with it. We're talking about $0.5 to maybe up to ping pong ball size hail, but a little bit smaller as you head into Texas. And a lot smaller as you head into the northern side of Minnesota, just to the north of St. Cloud. We've got quarter to maybe $0.5 size hail in this area. For your wind risk today, I do think that we could see some strong wind gusts anywhere from 65 to maybe 75 miles an hour. We've got that level 1 risk highlighted there in blue. Again, Liberal and Woodward and Wichita all included in this risk as well. Now talking about the tornado risk, I told you guys that it's low. It's a level 1 on a scale of 5, highlighted in green, but of course still something that we have to talk about, right? Again, northwestern Oklahoma, southern Kansas, all included in that level 1 risk for today. And we can take a look at your future radar, just one more national view for storms today into tomorrow. We'll have some lingering rain coming out of Kansas City early tomorrow morning, but that should dissipate by the time we get into lunchtime. And then northern Oklahoma expected to get more rain for tomorrow. Let's take a look at those severe risks for today. Where are we going with this? I'm wondering if we didn't have, maybe something didn't save on here. I don't know where these camera views are going. Let's show you the risks for the next few days here. Alrighty. Here's today, here's tomorrow. Let's take a look at Tuesday. We've got some funky things going on with our graphics here. Let's talk about Tuesday. We've got a marginal risk for storms highlighted here in green, so a very similar spot for hail today as it is for tomorrow. Again, we really focus on western Kansas here, from Colby, Kansas, all the way down to Amarillo and Lubbock, Texas. What are we looking at for tomorrow? Where's our camera gonna go? We have no idea. Ooh, nothing for Wednesday. All right, well, nothing yet. Our severe weather outlook for Wednesday is not too terribly impressive at the moment. However, I do expect that to change, as we've seen about every 3rd day to get some sort of significant severe weather risk. So I wonder if that's going to continue. We often talk about our 2nd severe weather season, and I think that we are starting to enter into that right now. Not as impressive as what we saw last year, but we'll see if that changes as we get warmer temperatures in here. Alrighty, let's talk about the tropics now. We have one area out in the Pacific that has a 20% chance for tropical cyclone development over the next 5 to 7 days. And then one of the most impressive storms that actually did hit Category 4 strength this weekend, Kiko, just going to the north of Hawaii. It's going to create some strong waves in Hawaii, but the impacts are going to be pretty minimal since it's going to stay so far to the north. It's a Category 1 storm right now, continuing to track to the northwest as we head into Sunday. Taking a look at your flash flood risk here, we do have a level 1 flash flood risk for those storms that are happening right now in central Kansas and then all the way into Oklahoma later on tonight. What about tomorrow? We've got another risk for flooding, very, very low risk for tomorrow. And then we've got another risk on Wednesday as well, farther up into the northwest. What about your what about your Atlantic tropical storm outlook? Nothing. I'm not joking. We really have no areas of interest to talk about in the Atlantic. Why? Why is that? Last week we told you that we had an 80% chance for tropical cyclone development, and that did not happen. That 20% chance won. That 20% chance said it's not going to happen, and that's exactly what came to fruition. Is we saw that weaken, and we don't have any other areas for tropical cyclone activity. Why? Why is that? Saharan dust has suppressed all of the action across the Atlantic right now. You can see that Saharan dust making its trip from off the coast of Africa across the Atlantic Ocean and closer to the U.S. You may be able to see some hazy sunsets as we head into the end of this week. Those red sunsets, hazy sunsets is something that will impact the U.S. But for the tropics, it just keeps it very quiet. Our next named storm, Gabrielle, does not look like it's coming anytime soon. Now, we still have our hurricane forecast set at about 12 to 16, 17 named storms for the season. So far, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 named storms. So we've got a few more storms to go. We're still expecting a very active end to September and early October, which is pretty average for hurricane season. Everyone says it's so slow, it's starting off so slow, it's not going to happen, but this is normal. Usually September is our most active month for the tropics. We're still at basically the very beginning of September, right? So we've still got a lot of time to go in hurricane season. Last year, this is exactly what we saw. If you took a look back at the 2024 hurricane season, we really didn't get going until the middle or very beginning of September. So we're still on track to what we saw last year. And I think this graphic is interesting. If you're a weather nerd like us, this is all of the tropical storms or hurricanes from the last 50 years during this week. And it really can form just about anywhere across the U.S. or form anywhere out in the Atlantic and make landfall anywhere in the U.S. And taking a look at our cool down, yeah, it's been cooler, right? We've enjoyed those fall-like temperatures. Our football games have really felt like fall-like football, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately. I guess it depends on if you like that summertime heat. It's going to come back in. Temperatures are likely to be above average as we head into the end of this week. By Wednesday and Thursday, temperatures are likely to be about 10 degrees above average. So what are we talking about here? Maybe the 70s and 80s today, but we're talking about the 80s and 90s starting to filter in back by Wednesday and Thursday. And it looks like this heat is going to stick around for a long time. Actually, what I see just right here, just glancing at this weather map, do you see this area that's circled here in this kind of wonky white line? That's a high pressure system. And often what comes with high pressure systems are clear, calm skies and warm temperatures. So as that starts to build back into the central and southern portion of the U.S., what we will most likely see is ongoing warm weather across the central portion of the states. So your chance for warmer weather, warmer than normal at least, is getting pretty high as we head into the middle of September. We're talking about the 13th through the 17th here. Some drier conditions also coming our way. We've had a lot of rain over the last few weeks, and it looks like that's going to take a pause for a little bit, and we're going to see drier conditions move in here through the central and eastern portion of the U.S., a little bit rainier out to the west. And there's your forecast for today. I didn't see any weather questions come up. We've got a few people jumping on saying thanks for being here. We appreciate that. Flax, we appreciate you being here as well. But there's your forecast today. Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, we will be mapping your storms later on this afternoon and evening as those storms pop up. An isolated risk for today, and we'll keep an eye on the weather for the rest of the work week as well. If you're interested in a wind, hail, or tornado map, we've got all of those storms from Kansas last week. Give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. or even go over to our website, HailTrace.com, which has a lot of information and a great blog that you can take a look at. Follow us in the meantime also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, or wherever you're watching this forecast for today. And come back for your forecast tomorrow. We do a weekly forecast, a daily forecast, every single weekday, right around lunchtime at noon. All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and we'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.